Being a content creator requires a huge array of skills, from camera operation to video editing to copywriting and graphic design. But by far, the most important skill you can have as a creator is confidence. And I really do think of confidence as a skill. Yeah, some people are maybe born with a natural aptitude towards it, but I really think that it's something that you can build up and acquire over time, even if it doesn't come naturally to you. And it really can be the difference between a successful career as a content creator and being too scared to start in the first place. The first confidence tip that you need to hear as a content creator is that confidence is a choice that becomes a feeling. There's no other way around it. You and only you can convince yourself to be confident. No matter how much your friends gas you up or your loving partner reassures you, you're never gonna believe it unless you start telling it to yourself. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't seek affirmation from others, because Lord knows I'm constantly asking my partner Dan to reassure me. But what I've really found is no matter how much I hear from him that I'm successful, I'm doing a good job, I'm working hard, I still am gonna feel kind of insecure unless I tell myself that I can feel good about all those things. So really, your confidence has to come from within. It can't come from those external sources, because if you seek it out in your follower count or your engagement or reassurance from your friends or partner, all of that is ultimately going to feel hollow unless you tell yourself all those good qualities about you and that you start believing them for yourself. Okay, so how can you actually do this? What it comes down to is you need to start telling yourself a new story about yourself. Up until this point, if you've believed, I'm kind of insecure, I'm kind of uncertain, I don't feel confident about my abilities or my career or myself, you need to start replacing that negative story that you have in your mind of yourself with a positive one. And you can start to do that by answering these few questions. Now, I know it's gonna feel a little corny, a little cheesy, but I think it's worth doing. I honestly recommend grabbing a pen and paper and jotting down some notes, some answers to these questions, because it'll kind of help you start down that path of creating a story in your mind of your new confident self. So the first question is, what characteristics do you admire in other creators? Basically, what do you aspire to be? Think about those things that you're like, if I was X, Y, and Z, then I would feel confident. Write those few things down. And if these are traits that you can identify in people that you admire, then it'll make the next question easier, which is, where do you already see those traits in yourself? Basically, come up with those similarities between where you are now and who you aspire to be. In what ways do you relate to these people that you admire? In what ways do you see yourself already exhibiting those traits that you really appreciate in other people? Even if it's just in small ways, even if you still feel like, oh, but I'm not really that X, Y, or Z, still write it down, because it's going to help get us on that path. And finally, the third question is, how can you, or how are you already nurturing those traits in yourself? Identify the ways that you're already helping those parts of yourself that you really like grow, and you can write down a few ways that you can kind of help those parts of yourself to grow more. By doing this, you're realizing that you're already on the path to being that confident self that you really want to be. You already have some of those traits that you admire in other people, and you can see how you're going to continue to foster that moving forward. Okay, so let's go through a couple examples, because I do know this feels a little bit intangible. Okay, so let's just say that, like, hypothetically, maybe possibly, I don't feel 100% confident in like the visual aspect of my YouTube videos. Maybe I feel like they could be more professional. Maybe I feel like they could be more engaging or more polished, and that sometimes I'm a little bit insecure that like I do this as my full-time job and I shoot on a crop sensor camera. Maybe let's just say that's a hypothetical. My answer to question one then, about what do I admire in other creators? I really admire other creators that have this attention to detail, this cinematic sort of feel about their videos. They feel like they are art beyond just, entertainment for the internet. Okay, question 2. How do I already see those traits in myself? Well, I know that when I'm editing certain parts of my video, I can get really fixated and excited about little visual details. Like, for example, the intro I did for my new Coffee Chats with Katie series, I spent like way too long on that, but I was super happy with how it turned out. And question number 3, how can I continue to nurture that in myself? Well, I know that I already have an inclination to really dive in and add those fun visual aspects. So what I need to do is just give myself more time to lean into that and to follow that creative spark when it comes up, so that I can feel really proud of the visuals of the videos that I make. So basically, this whole process, I think, helps with your confidence, because it helps you identify where you maybe feel like you're lacking, like what is the source of that insecurity. In my example, it's like, oh, my videos aren't cinematic or artful enough. But then it takes you through the steps of thinking, okay, well, maybe I actually am a little bit good at that. Maybe I do have some inclination towards that thing that I feel that I'm lacking. How can I sort of celebrate myself for already doing a little bit of that? And how can I also see where I can continue to make progress there? And I really think that helps bridge the gap between this feeling of insecurity and I'm just not good enough to, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I'm definitely working on it and I can feel good about the progress that I've made. Now, at this stage, you might be thinking, okay, Katie, well, that's all well and good, but what if I can only see the ways that I'm lacking? What if I don't feel like I embody those traits that I aspire to at all? And no matter how much I tell myself that I'm getting better at it or that I'm actually decent at it, I just don't believe it. And look, trust me, I really relate to that, but it brings me to my next very important piece of confidence advice, which is there's no downside to delusion. Okay, now I know a lot of people are into manifestation and believe that there is a direct correlation between positive thoughts and positive experiences coming to you. I'm not necessarily into that. I'm very much an evidence-based science kind of girly, but if that's your vibe, I respect it. Pop off, queen. But I just can't personally convince myself that that is a real thing. So I have to think about these things logically. And the logical thing is there is a proven, observable, direct connection between negative thoughts about yourself and negative outcomes or experiences. For example, if you don't feel confident, if you have negative thoughts about yourself, you'll probably not try as hard at the stuff that you're doing because you'll ultimately believe that you can't really do it anyway. You'll count yourself out before you even get started. And you'll hold yourself back from potential opportunities because you'll think to yourself, well, I'm not good enough to do that anyway. In this way, we can definitely see how negative thoughts about yourself or lack of confidence directly correlates to negative outcomes. On the flip side, however, having positive thoughts and confidence in yourself doesn't necessarily have that same exact direct correlation. But if you think about it, there's really no downside to it. There can't really be a negative outcome. There's really not going to be any downsides to believing in yourself, even if you didn't really deserve it, or those positive thoughts about yourself weren't really true. Okay, now obviously there are caveats to this. We don't want doctors doing brain surgery because they believe in themselves, but they're really not qualified. But look, we're content creators here. We're not saving lives. It's okay for you to believe in yourself, even if you don't feel like there is evidence to back it up yet. Because here's the thing, even if your confidence is totally delusional, what's the harm in that? You'll feel good about yourself. You'll put your best foot forward. You'll take opportunities that might challenge you and require you to level up your skills. These are all good things. So hopefully you can see my argument that logically there are definitely downsides to being insecure, having negative thoughts about yourself. But there really are no downsides to having positive thoughts about yourself and being confident. So even if you're like me and you're drawn to like logic and evidence and you feel like, okay, but all the evidence tells me that I'm a loser and I'm not good at stuff. Who cares if that's the evidence? Be delusional. Tell yourself that you are good at that stuff, because what's the downside? And I feel like this really circles back to that new story that you're gonna tell yourself, right? You basically need to start replacing your insecure negative thoughts with positive confident thoughts. And I know it can be difficult to do that at the beginning if you don't really believe those positive thoughts, but that's why I'm giving you permission to not believe them. It's okay if it's delusional. Embrace them anyway, because that's the way that you're going to become confident. This is basically my logical explanation for why you should fake it till you make it. Now, another huge part of building confidence is really proving to yourself that you can do things that are difficult and challenging. Stepping outside of your comfort zone, doing something you're uncertain of, and proving to yourself that it is possible. I kind of like to think about it like you're a video game character, and every time you have a new experience, you have like a new achievement unlocked, and with that new achievement, you kind of level up in confidence points. For example, I used to be really scared of flying, which is a pretty big obstacle to me because travel is like one of the meanings of life to me. If you haven't noticed, I live in a van sometimes. Now, my family never did flying vacations when I was a kid. We were road trip people. And so when I first had the opportunity to fly at the age of 17, I was terrified. My confidence level around flying was basically at 0 at this point. But then I did my first flight. I unlocked that achievement and I gained just a few confidence points. I proved to myself that even though it was really scary to me, I was able to get myself on that plane and survive the experience, and it really wasn't so bad. And the more times that I've flown over the years, the more confidence points I've gained and the less scary it is to me. The same is true in any area of your life, whether it's flying or posting your first YouTube video or posting an Instagram story or finally starting that business that you've been dreaming of. As you take action towards that, as you put yourself out of your comfort zone, as you do things you've never done before, you unlock new achievements and you gain confidence points. Now, I know a big barrier to this is essentially the fear of failure, right? We're scared of doing these new things because what if it doesn't turn out all right? But here's the hack you need to know. Failures also gain you confidence points. Because even if you try something and it doesn't go as planned, you still tried it. You had that experience and you know what? You survived it. So you've proven to yourself that you can do hard things. And sometimes that hard thing is flopping or is failing, but you recovered, so now you can feel more confident in yourself. Now, I know it can be a bit of a chicken and egg scenario because basically in order to get confidence, you need to go out of your comfort zone. But to go out of your comfort zone, you kind of need some level of confidence, right? And so I really think in order to break that feedback loop, you kind of just need to close your eyes and jump. You need to take that initial leap of faith, knowing that it's scary and you really don't want to do it, but once you get to the other side, you'll have achieved something that will make you feel more confident about yourself, which will start a positive feedback loop of allowing you to try even more new things and gain more confidence. Speaking of doing new things and gaining confidence, one of the best ways to do that is learning a new skill. And the perfect place to do that is on Skillshare, the sponsor of today's video. You probably are familiar with Skillshare for their creative classes in things like graphic design, video editing, and photography. But did you know that Skillshare also has a wide variety of classes around career development and life skills as well? Whether you're looking to make a career move or improve your business abilities or just get better at a hobby you love, Skillshare is going to have a class for you. I especially want to recommend to you, because you're watching this video, the Skillshare course called Confidence for Creatives, 5 Exercises to Grow Your Confidence and Self-Care by Eugenia Washington. I think it'll definitely help you get on the right foot down this confidence journey. It's a perfect companion to this video. And the best part is you can get a free month of Skillshare by using the link in my description. So you can sign up now, take that awesome course by Eugenia, and get it for free within the first month. The first 1,000 people to use the link in my description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So join Skillshare today and start unlocking those new achievements and gaining those confidence points by learning a new skill. Building up your confidence is going to be a journey, but just try to remind yourself that there's really no downside to trying, and the upsides truly are life-changing. Start telling that new positive story about yourself to yourself. Prove to yourself that you can do hard things, and slowly but surely your confidence will grow. Now, if you continue on this content creator journey, you're probably going to be curious what a day in the life of a full-time creator and entrepreneur looks like. Well, I made a video for you about exactly that, so make sure you check out this one next. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having adventures and following your dreams, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!